Coming up on Gunters Universe, episode 39, I talk with a panel of esteemed VR developers about Oculus pre-orders, the updated Vive design, CES, and more. Stay tuned.
VR Chat, the next frontier. These are the experiences from Gunters' universe. His continuing mission? To seek out and connect with VR devs and passionate enthusiasts. To discuss theories, beliefs, and rhetoric of all kind. And to boldly go where no show has ever gone before.
Welcome, everyone, to Gunter's Universe. I'm your host, Gunter. This is the one and only live talk show broadcasting from the metaverse. You can join us in VR Chat every Tuesday at 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific to watch the show live here in VR Chat. It's really awesome. You can also watch the live stream at hitbox.tv/Gunter444. And I want to welcome the Hitbox chat folks to the show. We can't interact with you really, but someday I hope to have the chat box here in studio in VR so we can all hang together. But yeah, let's go ahead and get things started. Let's meet our guests. To my left, I have Jono Forbes. He's a developer of Archean world-building app, formerly known as VRMT, and he is also in the Vive. How's it going, Jono?
Going good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, this is great. The last time I talked to you really was at Oculus Connect 2, where we were hanging out at some awesome beach house, maybe having a bunch of drinks, having fun, doing a super duper Uber beach podcast with Kyle and all kinds of folks.
Oh, that was the best time. That was so good.
And yeah, for those looking at the Jono and the Vive here, this is a pre-beta Vive build. I mean, it just got put in, so you can see he can use his hands, he can turn and stuff. But the legs kind of move okay with things, but it could be better. Sitting's a huge problem right now. From Jono's perspective, it's not good, and if he does sit here, his hands are all janked up. So he won't be doing that. He'll be standing the whole show. Luckily, his legs shouldn't get too tired because in real life, he's just going to sit in a chair. We just won't know it.
Yeah, I think my legs are just going through the floor. I'm totally comfortable. Don't worry about me.
Right on. Cool. Our next guest is Pizzy, and Pizzy, you run the Indianapolis meetup. Am I correct?
Yeah, Indianapolis virtual reality meetup, and I'm just an enthusiast, evangelist, and I'm getting a free CV1. Hell yeah!
Hell yeah! And so I did say the panel of VR developers, but it is more. It's people doing work in the VR scene. Jonah, you're a developer. Pizzy, you run a meetup. And now to Bob. Bob's actually a podcaster. He is co-host of the Left-Handed VR podcast and a good friend of mine. How's it going, Bob?
Well, especially around the middle.
Nice. Yeah, how's the weather up there in Boston?
It was very, very cold this morning. Woke up to about 7 degrees.
Cool. Not sandals and shorts weather like it is down here in Florida.
Hell no.
Hell no. It's cool though. Yeah, we still haven't had our 7 blizzards this year, so I think we're doing okay.
That's cool. Okay, also maybe joining us is Blair Renaud and Mark Schramm. So it's Technolust and Darkfield VR and other titles. So hopefully we'll see them. They might be having some technical issues, are not able to make it out. They were sort of maybes. Or maybe everybody wants to get some sleep in order to wake up in 12 hours and 20 minutes for the Oculus pre-order. So I'm going to turn things over to Bob, Coznefx here, to read a few headlines briefly, and then after that we're getting into the discussion. Take it away, Bob.
Thanks, Gunnar. So here are some of the top virtual reality headline news from the past week. Our top story: Oculus pre-orders open January 6th on Oculus's website, and initially available in 20 countries. The price is not known yet, however we do know that it will be greater than $350 and include the headset, tracking camera, wireless Xbox controller, all inside of a plastic carrying case. Pre-orders will receive a copy of the games Lucky's Tale and Eve Valkyrie. Pre-orders can also reserve a spot in line for Oculus Touch, which have been delayed to the second half of 2016. In addition, all DK1 Kickstarter backers will receive a complimentary Kickstarter edition of the Oculus Rift. In other news, HTC reveals its Vive pre-development kit, originally targeted for a late 2015 limited consumer release. We learned that one of the reasons for the delay is the addition of the front-facing camera that integrates with their Chaperone system. HTC has their Vive demo truck in Las Vegas for CES, and the Vive will be all over the CES floor via a plethora of other companies. Upload VR has reported that Sensometric Instruments, SMI, is planning to show foveated rendering with its 250 Hz eye tracking at CES this week. Foveated rendering works by rendering higher resolution in the center of your vision and lower resolution in the periphery of your vision, thus reducing the overall resolution for each frame. Samsung will be demoing its prototype Rink motion control for mobile VR this week at CES. Little is known about this controller yet, but from photos we can see that it has straps that go around your hands, and it has a box that sits on the top of the Gear VR headset. And our final story, Infinitec has posted a video of its new omnidirectional treadmill and is bringing it to CES. The latest version looks to be about half the size of the original, is now user-controlled, and adds a harness. Infinitec has also recently announced that Matt Carroll, inventor of Stomps and co-host of the PodVR podcast, has joined the team as their Director of Technology. Congratulations,
So awesome.
Matt.
Big round of applause for Matt Carroll, Stomps, who has been on the show a few times. He's a good old buddy from the good old days. I can even say them now because it's been about 2 or 3 years. And he let me stay on his in a spare bedroom while I went out there to California on limited funds, and he's super nice and super sweet. So this is great. Thank you, Bob, for those stories. Now let's jump into the discussion. Let's start with Oculus. There's a lot of news there. First thing is, anyone here a Kickstarter backer?
Well, me, definitely.
Pizzy, that's awesome. So you backed it. I mean,
Yeah, I was
when you first heard of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, how early did you just like?
I was following.
Day
Actually,
one,
I was
or?
following before Oculus even formed. I was I used to visit the Meant to Be Seen forums all the time.
Right.
So I bought a head-mounted display before Oculus even formed, before even John Carmack and stuff. So and then I saw John Carmack's post in Meant to Be Seen, and I just like lost it. And that was like almost like 3 years ago. And yeah, man, it's nuts. So yeah, I had no idea they would ever like straight up give us a CV1. Who knows? It's going to be either $300 to $600, right? So crazy.
That is crazy. So you're an original gangster. I'd say I'm part of the good old days, but you're an original gangster. Props to you. You should get something else too for free.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it's crazy. So I got one DK1 and I got a T-shirt and that's it. But yeah, it was awesome.
Cool.
I loved it.
Yeah, great news. Anybody else in the audience, or we've already talked, Bob? You're not a Kickstarter backer. Is anybody else around here? Cool. We had one, and it's Pizzy, and it's fucking awesome. So congrats.
Nice. Yeah, I feel super stupid because I was living with 2 guys at the time who both kickstarted the Rift, and I'm like, all right, cool, I'm super into this, but you know, there's going to be 2 of them in the house already, so I'm good. Yeah, and now both guys aren't doing VR dev, and I am, and I'm the one who's not getting the CV1 yet. It's like, god damn it, I'm not quite.
You should steal it from them. That's my recommendation.
Yeah.
I deserve this more.
But if you think about like a PR move, it's like genius because he has like 10,000, fans and supporters get it right before the public does, and they'll output all this great feedback.
Yeah,
I feel like it's really genuine too.
I
feel
know,
like it's
and
absolutely
to be
PR
honest,
is
it's
part of
not
it because you
about
gotta, but it
it's not
feels
about
genuine.
PR. It's absolutely genuine. That's the greatest part about it. So I don't want to be known for saying the other one.
I'm sure it's part of their marketing department loves it and eating it up and may have helped the decision. But really, like, what would things be without Kickstarter backers? What if it failed? Then all this wouldn't be working at Facebook and being able to focus on VR. And I don't know, everybody knows the story. It's great.
Yeah, Palmer is awesome.
Yeah, I love Wallace tweeting this couple weeks and meeting him out in OC2, and it's exactly the face I think I want for VR. If, Oculus and VR. It's just cool guy. You don't have to wear a suit. Suits are out, man. Flip-flops are in.
Flip-flops.
Okay. How much do you predict the Rift to be, and are you going to pre-order? And then after that, I'm going to ask the audience. So, Jonah, what do you think?
I mean, I'd say maybe 500. No, I think that they know that going above 600, I think, would just be kind of ridiculous and kind of be out of the price range of a lot of, normal consumers. Obviously, the Rift is already kind of not a normal consumer thing, but they are trying to make it for that kind of a. So yeah, I mean, I think that 500 to me is kind of the upper bound of what they could reasonably ask for a lot of people to buy into it.
Yeah. How about you, Pizzy?
Yeah, I'm still gonna pre-order. I'm gonna try to pre-order 2 of them because I want to have another person in VR also. But I just because you said 500, I've been thinking 500, but now I'm just gonna change it to 550. Yeah.
Well, it's gonna end it at 99, right?
And 99 cents, right?
Give or take a penny, sure. And Bob.
I think it's also going to be 500. The range, I think, though, will probably be between 400 and 550. If you look at, Palmer did state that it was going to be more than $350. We know that. The other thing that we know is that all in, which is a PC plus a Rift, is going to be about $1,500. Now, if you go to Oculus's website and look at all of the PCs that are Oculus ready, they all start at $999, except for one, which starts at $949. So, based on that information, we know that it's going to be anywhere between $350 plus to $550.
Yeah, mine is 400 to 500, and I would say 400, and only if they're continuing on the awesomeness, right? They really want to be, they're giving away CV1s to the Kickstarter. They want to treat everybody as well. They were able to get, the price isn't going to be $350. They got to make it better than that, but it's probably not going to be that. But I feel like they might, like with the Facebook money, trying to subsidize as much as possible. So that's kind of my optimistic. But I expect 500, and I'm fine with that. More than that, I think it's a bit of a problem because you got to buy Touch 6 months later, and so it starts to become quite pricey. Plus, again, the computer. So a lot of people aren't going to be able to get the computer and everything. So then, if they can keep it at 400, I think they're going to get a lot more adoption. What do you think about that?
Well, one thing that I did see today on Palmer's tweets was that you're not paying for it right now. You pay for it when it ships. So for those people who are a little bit short on cash right now, you can still pre-order it.
Another great move.
I'm curious what Touch will cost. I'm really curious what Touch will cost.
That too. Will we learn that?
I think it'll be between 100 and 150.
So Touch in my mind is it's obviously a sensor, which is another camera, and then it's just the 2 controllers, right?
Right.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see 200 for Touch.
200, yeah, that sounds good.
I could see that too. That's if it's going to be in the $200 range, then having the Rift in a $550 price tag just feels like it's too much. I mean, I'll buy it, and a bunch of people will buy it, and I actually won't have a problem. But we're talking about more and more people, and maybe it's just not the year to try to push towards that mass adoption.
What was that weird subsidized comment that Palmer made? He used the word subsidized, so it made me think that and then he also made an earlier tweet a while ago that said people more people can afford it than you think. And in my mind, I think maybe they'll offer a payment type plan or something.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, I wonder though, like, yeah, I'm going to keep my guess at 500, but I think that is a subsidized. Whoa. I'm not sure what this looks like for you.
Your head is sideways. There you go.
There we go. Hey again. Yeah, I'm kind of like sitting away from my lighthouses here. But yeah, I kind of wonder if it actually costs them like 700 to make, and then they're selling it for 500 and just really relying on software to make up a difference. They're really relying on the game.
Yeah, like they're taking it if it costs 600 and they're selling it for 400, they're taking a $200 loss.
Well, that mentions
seems like
software buffering, what the actual cost was. They're going to try to keep the price down as much as they can and let software try to make up the difference, hopefully.
Yeah, I agree, especially because they have all of these, Oculus Studios projects, Oculus Studios games. That seems like a really clear move. Yeah, exactly. Rock Band, all that stuff. It seems to me like that's really where they're looking to be making money off this thing more than the hardware itself.
There's a Steam type service for VR content delivery.
Right.
Yep. I feel though like before the price we were thinking was around $350, then Palmer's like, no, it's gonna be more than that. But for it to be like, so that means like it couldn't cost that much more to build it then, but they're gonna make it better sensors, whatever, better optics, and thinking then it would actually cost $700 for them to make just seems kind of like, wow, you must have really made that much better.
It's
well,
a
you have to remember
manufacturing process. The material they're using, it's stuff that's never been done, supposedly, so that's expensive right there.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, they switched from a single cell phone screen to, like, dual custom kind of screens. They've added textiles, so it's not just, like, plastic, it's plastic and textile.
It's like a cloth.
They added headphones, a mic, an amp, DAC, that whole audio stack. So,
yeah.
They've added a whole bunch of stuff.
I certainly want the best product.
Controller in the plastic case.
Right.
Yeah, the blowout of the product has 300 plus parts, right? That exploded view of it that shows all the parts. Crazy.
What were you going to say, Joe?
Maybe, another tracking issue. I'm just staying too close to my desk here. Maybe it doesn't actually cost $700 for them to make, but maybe they're actually selling it, at the cost of production, but then they're not factoring into that all of their R&D money. Yeah, because they've obviously spent a lot of money building this thing and figuring out how to build this thing right. And I sort of suspect that they're not factoring that into the price of the thing. They say that it's subsidized.
Oh, yeah, no way. That's why Palmer said it costs $1,000 for another company to try to make money just off an HMD.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they can do that because of the Facebook money. I mean, that's what they were really excited about, that they don't have to worry about running the business. And I'm sure this is all chump change for Facebook.
I mean, consoles have done that in the past too.
Happen.
Sell the hardware at a loss up front until it gets to the point where you sell it for the same price for a while, and eventually your economies of scale change, and your parts become cheaper, and you end up making your money on the software side rather than the hardware side.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to move things along a little bit. I was alluding to asking the audience if they're pre-ordering tomorrow. So if you are pre-ordering tomorrow, you're going to be hitting that F5 key. Stand up. Let's go ahead and stand up. Let's see you. Blando, you can't stand up. You could speak out loud, though. Or jump and flip around. You can't jump in here. So, okay. Thombert. Lord Zone, Blando, Jeff, Zenti, Cuffs, Madman, Evolve, looks like he's sitting, and Viral Chrysophrase. Okay, so like, what, 75% of it? Oh, I must stand up too. Pizzy's getting a free one, so it don't matter. And he's going to buy more anyway.
Yeah.
Cool, so that was interesting. So some of you are not going to pre-order.
Or they might be AFK just to...
Oh, right. I assume everybody always watches and participates in everything and never alt-tabs and does any other multitasking like nerds always do.
Yeah, Met Nerve's looking up to the stars over here, so I don't think he's around.
That's right. I actually like to call them out. It's kind of funny.
It's a good name, though.
Make fun of them. Okay. So let's keep going. I like the no chance of Rift pre-orders selling out. We will keep taking pre-orders for as long as people want Eve Valkyrie. But that doesn't mean everybody's going to become on the first shipment. So, it's kind of... It's not everybody tomorrow is going to be in the first shipment. That probably is not going to happen. But they do have the stock.
Well, we don't know that. We don't know how big the first shipment's going to be.
Well, I guess it was Palmer, or whatever post I was reading, said that they believe they have the stock to meet the demand.
Yeah, so it's some unknown number. I mean, let's just say they have 500K, they got 500,000, and let's say they're expecting 250,000,
Which I think is a good number, yeah.
I'm just guessing, but who knows?
Well, who knows about that, but I do like... I guess that's the same as before, I don't know. But it's not just one day of pre-orders or having that sell-out situation. That would be a bummer for a lot of people. Okay, Touch has been delayed to the second half of 2016.
December.
And then if it's December, man, I'll still buy it.
December,
but
then
God damn.
Then STEM will be used in my house.
Yeah.
We'll have a place for a bit.
Yeah.
What's going on with STEM? Are they going to actually commercialize and have some out?
Yeah, they got approved by the FCC. They're have to wait until after February for production. So production's set to start in March right now.
Those are for the Kickstarter backers?
Yep.
So that OPs me for sure, if that can come out maybe this half of the year. And I got like 5 extra packs for that track other things, but so yeah, Touch coming out the next half of the year. I'm starting to think, and I heard something, I don't know where I heard it, but like they want to iterate, I think something like Apple, like once a year. So I was starting to think maybe like the Rift will be the, first they iterate in the first half of the year, and then the second half of the year is Touch, and they do this every year. So it's sort of separate things like your MacBooks, and then is half the year, and then the other half of the year you get your iPhone or something like that. Any thoughts there? Am I crazy?
Well, so do you think that we'll see a Rift CB2, next March 2017?
Right.
Huh.
They want to iterate. They set them. I never know where I hear anything, because I just hear all kinds of things. But that they wanted to iterate fast.
Yeah, I believe John Carmack was saying that about. He was saying that about the mobile, like the Gear VR.
Oh, maybe it was the Gear.
Would iterate on the cell phone cycle,
Which that makes sense, right?
I can't remember. I think Palmer might have said something about a while ago, like how often they would come out. I can't remember the details.
Well, that's sort of my little thinking and prediction. Instead of trying to, I don't know, give an iteration on both, things, 1 year at a time, but breaking them up. I don't know. It seems like it could make sense. Like, you got your head, that's a thing, they work on that, iterate that, and then the second half of the year they work on your hands. And that these two things move forward.
I think a cycle will develop for sure. Some sort of cycle will.
I think it'll be a little longer at first, maybe like 18 months.
I mean, I've kind of been assuming that it would be kind of between like console cycle and a phone cycle, but I don't know. Now that you bring this up, like it'll change every year. I guess it's possible that like this technology does change really fast, and obviously the Rift CV1 spec got locked down months ago now, probably 6 to 12 months ago at this point. To actually be in production now. So yeah, I mean, I think we can all assume that they're already working on CV2 now as the CV1 just completes production. So yeah, I mean, I think that a year between headsets might not be unreasonable. I think maybe, I think 18 months, I'm going to put my money there too. But yeah, definitely much closer on the phone side than the console side, I think, these days.
I was thinking about it more. Once a year does quite to be a lot for the piggy bank. But so does phones. I don't know. You want the newest, greatest, but you don't have to. You can still have your CV1.
Well, but I suppose if you're talking about like they're going to iterate the head and then they'll iterate the hands and then they'll go back to the head. Like if they're doing a piecemeal like this and assuming that they're all kind of compatible with each other, like you can use the CB1 touch with the CB2 Rift.
Yeah.
Then I feel like it becomes a little more reasonable where like you can upgrade it kind of piecemeal, one bit at a time, and gradually work up a better and better system.
Yeah, like two teams.
I don't know. I think CB2
Sure, that's
is
why
gonna
Apple
come with
breaks things
motion
up,
controls.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that the plan was to have touch be part of CB2 from the get-go, and then their hand was forced with the Vive, where if the Vive came out at the same time as the Rift with motion controls, and Oculus wasn't planning on shipping touch until CB2, then they would have just been in a very obviously not the full VR experience kind of place.
I believe that, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of my expectation is that they just advanced touch to come halfway through CB1, whereas originally it was just going to come next year dead with CB2.
All right. Touch has an updated design. Let me try to put up a picture, but have you guys seen that?
So
Yeah,
Yep.
has anybody figured out those bumps yet? The circular bumps on the left side?
Pulling it up. 1 second. It takes me a bit. Huzzah! Yeah, what are those bumps, or do they look like a speaker or something? What's going on there?
We're talking about
Let's see.
between the B and the A.
Yeah.
Right on the
exactly.
left.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's got to be either a speaker or a microphone or both. I don't know. I guess a speaker seems a little crazy because
It wouldn't be a microphone, dude, because the
Wouldn't be a mic.
microphone's built into CB1.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I guess a speaker's a little weird because you can you're going to be in VR while you use this thing. You're going to have positional audio in VR, so you can
Yeah,
have
you have your ears
virtual
covered
audio source.
usually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I have
it's not a speaker.
haptic feedback,
Can-
perhaps.
Ultrasonic sensor.
Like, would you rest your thumb there instead of on the thumbstick?
You would
But-
naturally. So maybe it detects it when your thumb is not on it. I bet that's it.
Instead of... it does that on the thumbstick, too, but maybe they've moved it.
Well, I remember.
Maybe so that if you put your thumb there, you don't have to have your thumbs up.
Well, if your thumb's there, it detects that your thumb's there,
Right.
so it shows your thumb down. Right.
Just when it's
So
resting
the buttons,
on the analog stick, not when you push down or using the analog
Resting,
stick. Just when
right.
it's kind of resting there, barely, not moving it.
yeah, from what I understand, the buttons are supposed to be capacitive, so that doesn't make sense.
I mean, I tried this with you, Gunter, and a few other people back at CB1, and I'm trying to remember if the whole front surface was capacitive, but it really felt like a lot of the device was capacitive. So wherever I put my fingers, I kind of saw that reflected in the avatar. So I don't know. I'd be kind of surprised if that was just a capacitive sensor because it seems like probably the whole surface and all the buttons, all the joystick and everything will all be capacitive.
Now, what is the Oculus button for?
Takes you to that
Home.
Oculus Home.
Yeah, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean by Oculus Home? You talking about to the web page or what?
Well, if you have a Gear VR currently, it takes you to Oculus Home, which is their apps. It shows you all their current Oculus apps, so they'll have the same thing for the desktop. And
It's kind of like Xbox, where they have that middle button between the start and the
or
select.
PlayStation, right?
Or Steam has their overlay,
Right, or just like a phone home button. It just takes you back to the app selection, the home experience.
I'm gonna try to play a video now. Just that nice Kickstarter, like giving everybody a Kickstarter free CB1 from the Kickstarter. Just thought it was a nice video from Palmer and the gang.
Just over 3 years ago, we launched a Kickstarter to create the first Oculus Rift development kit. The goal of the Kickstarter was to create great virtual reality, to give developers the tools that they needed to start experimenting with VR. First, we shipped DK1, then DK2, and now we're on the eve of launching the Rift.
We're on a mission to enable the world to experience anything. When we started, there were only a handful of us. Since then, we've seen the VR industry come to life. Today, thousands of you are creating incredible VR games and experiences, and millions of people have tried virtual reality. We recently announced that Lucky's Tale and Eve Valkyrie are going to be bundled with the Rift. Playful and CCP were two of our earliest backers and have been with us on this journey since the beginning. With Rift pre-orders launching January 6th, we have one more special announcement we'd like to share with you, our Kickstarter community.
Every Kickstarter backer that pledged for a DK1 is going to be getting a Rift for free.
You guys were the earliest believers. We can't wait to see what you think. This year is going to be incredible for VR. Touch is launching later this year, and Gear VR is in the hands of people everywhere.
So thanks for making a pledge and helping us change gaming forever. We'll see you in the Rift.
I like how
I like that
Tom was
video.
wearing the original logo shirt.
Yeah, that's nice.
Oh yeah, it's so cool that you know he says it himself. Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome.
So actually, I got a real big surprise here. When I was talking to Palmer at OCDo, he thought it would be actually great to show how much you guys support VR by coming out to the show. So there is a CV1 under your seats right now. Go ahead and grab it, guys.
Yeah! Butthole!
Psych! Come back next week and maybe there will be that time, yeah. Just might be. I got Kenny working on something. Okay.
Wink, wink.
And last thing with Oculus, which launch titles are you excited about? Go ahead and shout them out, anybody.
Eve Valkyrie, that's going to be one awesome game.
Yeah, you like that? Anybody else
Drift.
excited for that?
Drift looks cool to me.
Cool,
Yeah,
yep.
this looks so sweet.
You gonna get a racing wheel for that?
No, that's a space game. A Drift.
Oh, is it?
Space.
I don't think
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
I think maybe
The Project Cars.
Airmech?
I love Project Cars. I play that all the time.
I just bought that on the Steam sale the other day.
Cool. I just got Drift Rally. I haven't played that yet. I'm looking forward to that.
Drift Rally, that's what I got confused with.
Or
Drift.
Dirt Rally. Yeah.
And then there's that confusion too. What about you, Jonah?
I think Airmech was probably my favorite thing that I played back at Oculus Connect when they showed the Airmech CV1 experience. That was really nice. I love that kind of small scale
That
board
looks
game sort of
awesome.
thing. Yeah, it's really fun. I mean, I love that game to begin with, just in the web browser, but doing it in VR obviously is just way awesomer.
Yeah, diorama up close, small little like figurines running around. I love that VR stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And they have a really cool mechanic in that where like you're looking at a circular table, kind of like the table in front of us, and then if you pan the world, like the whole world is kind of masked in this table shape. It's hard to describe without actually seeing the thing, but it just looks super cool. I really loved it.
I'm looking forward to Technolust, even though
Oh, yeah.
Blair is not
That's what I was
here.
about to say.
Shame on him. What else, Bob?
Well, the
I
thing with
forgot about
Technolust is I haven't actually played any of the demos, even though he sends them all out and everything.
Not
for
even the
back-
first?
all the speckers. Nope. Nothing.
I haven't played a lot of the extra one. Yeah, I just played like the
I mean,
first one.
I've seen some of the videos and some of the screenshots that he's posted, but I haven't actually gone in. I mean, well, maybe not. It's not true. I mean, I've been in the VR chat room that he created.
Right.
I don't know if that counts or not.
I'm super stoked. I backed it for I don't know, a couple $100 so that I could get myself in the game, and so we're gonna do a
Yeah, me
Gunter cross, talk show thing in Technolust. So
Nice.
yeah.
Oh, that's
What do you
really
got,
cool.
Bob?
Sweet.
Yeah, Jason and I are both at the $200 mark, so we're both going to be in it. So I don't know, maybe some VR love in there.
Sure.
Yeah, I played one of the demos. It was looked pretty good. I liked his lighting and the textures were nice.
There'll be nudity. That's great. I can't wait to see what he's got going on there.
Yeah, kind of bleeding over from some of his other projects.
I could be wrong too. What's that?
The nudity bleeding over from his other projects.
Exactly. He has a lot of things going on. irisvr.com.
It's Iris Virtual Reality.
Yeah, look that up if you want to find out what
Iris
Blair's
VR
up
is
to.
like ArchViz.
More. Right, that was that thing. Yeah, check his stuff out. There's more coming soon. I know he's working on even other things. I forgot what he was going to pimp tonight. But yeah, Blair's super cool. Looking forward to that. And Windlands, right? Is that coming?
Oh, I love the original demo and game. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a launch title as well. But you know, without the, I think I used mine with the Hydra. Like I want motion controls of that. So I don't know. Whatever. It'll still be fun on Xbox. I think we'll have a ton of fun with Xbox and then the grand mecca of like, you know, Job Simulator or Bullet Train, Dead and Buried, Surgeon Simulator, Pulsar Arena, and all that good stuff on the touch will be pretty badass, and then we'll probably be even more by then, so rock on.
I guess I'm actually excited for Lucky's Tale. I think that's going to be really fun. You know, I love Super Mario 64, so I think to me that game is like, all right, this is a cool way to get a lot of people into VR, and I think that also like it's really interesting. It kind of feels like a second person game. Like it doesn't feel like third person because like you look at Lucky and he looks back at you and waves at you and kind of like has some interaction with you, and that's one of those things that like I think a lot of people look at that game and they're like, third-person games using a gamepad, like you could do that on a monitor, like why do this in VR? But when you actually play that game in particular, it's like you feel like you can communicate with that little character in a way that I never did in Mario, and like it's very, I don't know, it's very different. It's very different to experience that in VR.
I'm super looking forward to it as well. I love those kinds of games and think that we need that kind of game, especially I think as Rift or as a launch title. Makes a lot of sense. I played it a good bit at the OC2 and just really enjoyed it. Loved trying to speed run through it. That was a lot of fun. And, you know, maybe it's not like VR first person taking advantage of what we all think is the best or what could be done, but I think we still need games like this. I think, man, somebody just playing on a regular console or on your monitor, yeah, it's cool. They could just do that, but why not put this headset on and then the whole environment's all around you, and, you know, it looks so much better when it's like that, except for if you have 4K or all that whatever jazz. But it's mind-blowing. Like I know people like try to do 3D video game stuff with, you know, the NVIDIA 3D Vision or whatever it was called, and this is going to be real 3D. I don't think people quite understand what they're about to get.
Yeah. I think it's pretty interesting to show people that like not every game in VR has to be a first-person game with your hands involved. Like you can also play third-person games. You can also play kind of more 2D games. You know, like the reason we call this the final medium is, right? Like we can make kind of any other format work within VR. So I think Lucky's Tale kind of
eventually
gets at that.
Yeah, and Carmack's tweet the other day said he thinks it's, I think he said less than 50% of the time people will be playing games. So.
I mean, I spend more than 50% of my time in VR social compared to gaming.
Exactly, me too. Of course, I'm just addicted to the social part. Cause it's cool.
I really wonder what the social number. You know, right now it's plenty, but we need more people in social VR, more people to know about it, and I think there's obviously certain people out there that'll be really attractive to them. I think there's a bunch of nerds in our community that probably don't want to go and do a lot of socialization, but then they do it and they find that, this is a great way to socialize because, you know, I'm in my underwear at home hiding, you know, all this stuff. So I find that, I don't know, I just think there's going to be a wave of people, but I don't know how much, right? I just don't have
Well, I think it changes people in the real world also, because I personally, like, I've been using VR for, you know, like 3 years years and stuff, and personally I feel way more outgoing than I ever used to be. I feel like a way better person, but I don't want to attribute that to VR, but I do a lot of VR though, so.
And socially, specifically, because it's so similar. It really is. Getting up, talking to people, you get nervous. I get nervous every time I do the show. It's awesome. I've grown a lot, and I've seen so many people grow. People that wouldn't talk at all, come out of their shell. Cool.
I think social's also, like, that's always what I kind of pitch to people who aren't gamers. They're like, all right, what's this VR thing all about? Like, it's very gaming oriented right now. There's a lot of games coming out for it. And my example to those people, non-gamer people, is always just like, all right, this experience we're having right now, not the one we're having right now, but when I'm talking to those people, it's like, we're in a room together, making eye contact, having body language, all of that we can do in VR. Like, we can have this social, physical, real experience in VR, and it's not just about media or entertainment. Like, it actually is something that people can use in their real lives to communicate with each other. So, with the Facebook acquisition, it still totally makes sense to me. Like, I think that social is really going to be kind of the killer thing for VR, for sure.
All right, let's move to HTC Vive Pre. So they're calling, I guess, the next dev kit VK2. It's the Pre. I don't know.
Yeah, it looks a lot sexier.
It sure does. It looks much better. The industrial design overhaul. It's smaller. Apparently, the improved visual systems with brighter displays and image refinements. You'll be charging it through micro USB. No more batteries. What are some of your thoughts on those things? How about you, Bob?
Yeah, from my experience demoing it, definitely the biggest thing probably is the batteries and the controllers. One of the thought that I had is that, they said that the batteries will last for 4 hours, but for extended gameplay, like what you could also do is plug the little USB, the micro USB, into like portable cell phone chargers that you just stick in your pocket. So, you can, if you want to have like an 8-hour game
that's
session,
interesting.
you can.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't even think about that. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I will point out that the current method...
What's up? Go ahead. Oh, you, Jono.
Yeah, it's super absurd. Like, you have to actually take out the batteries and plug in this little extra breadboard that they provide, and you stick this little chip into the inside of the controller, and then it adds the USB port on it. So to me, like, obviously that's super interesting.
You're cutting in and out there.
Oh, sorry, the little dot went off. I guess what I was getting at was just like the ability to have wired controllers without any extra hassle. Like, I think that's actually going to be a really big upgrade. Or sorry,
Totally.
Wired controllers, plugging controllers in without that big hassle.
Is there any reason for the hole in the middle? Is it just to save weight or what?
Well, I hated that like mushroom top thing. It looked ridiculous.
Yeah,
I think people were saying like they would hit it on things. They wouldn't realize it. Easy
right.
to.
They made it slightly. It looks smaller too than the. Yeah.
Maybe you could hang it.
I think you could still hit it on stuff, but it definitely looks like it's closer to your hand than the other one.
In the Tom's Hardware video, they were hinting that the donut shape was to give better visibility to the lighthouse towers.
Oh, I see, because they put a sensor in the concave part of it.
Yeah, I think they wanted it at an angle.
Yeah, because the original one was concave on the top too, because the sensor has to be on something rigid to track it, right?
Okay, how about the added front-facing camera to do stuff like pass-through or basically detect other people. I don't quite understand all the update there. Maybe, Jono, you could fill us in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge. You know, right now, the way you set up a Vive DK1, like, there's the setup process. You go through the, like, plant each wall vertex process, and you're like, all right, this is the shape of my room. And what you really miss there, first off, obviously, is anything dynamic coming into the room. If a person or your cat comes into the room, you know, that's not getting shown in the chaperone. But also what you miss out on is, like, the difference between a wall and a table. Like, right now, you have to treat a table like a wall, which is kind of too bad because it's like, oh, it's cool to be able to incorporate that table into VR. If you knew that you had a flat surface in front of you, you know, that's very different than a wall. So,
I see.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be a big shift in terms of just being able to use more of the space, and games that want to generate their world dynamically, being able to actually, like, match the contours of your real room. Like, that might be a little further out, but I think that being able to incorporate, like, changes in elevation within your real space is going to be really, really interesting.
I guess then you could model your room, and then the stuff will actually match up, so you can go pick up your drink or put it down.
Well, I'm not sure about that, because
No.
when you need a depth sensing camera on the headset to actually map out in 3D space where the table is, because they're just showing you that visually with one camera in a 2D space right now. So it's not like it's actually bringing that table into VR and bringing that into the chaperone mesh, if you will. So, see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I think first off, there is something to be said just for being able to see what's in front of you. Like, I wish I could see my keyboard right now. So that's useful even without depth sensing, just being able to have the path vision. But I think that since the camera itself is being tracked with the lighthouse sensing, you'll still be able to kind of extract 3D data from the camera, even though it's only a single camera, because you know the point the camera's coming from. Like, if you look at something like Tango, a lot of the sensors on that device are there just to figure out where the device is in space. Whereas with the Vive, like, you know where the camera is in space because it's where your head is, and your head is being really accurately tracked. So using that information, you know, I think if you're looking at an object and you move your head back and forth a little bit, you know where the Vive is, you know where the headset is, you know where.
Yeah,
like,
I guess you're right. I guess they could. Yeah, so they can get a. I guess it's just a simple mesh. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think we will see some level of kind of like 3D scanning in a way of objects, you know, in your real environment.
That's cool.
I guess they could do some photogrammetry, like algorithm in real time or something, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, totally. I mean, photogrammetry actually is something that they show off in the demos that they give to developers. You can boot up a bunch of photogrammetry scenes that Valve has made in their office. So I think that's definitely a part of it that they're really thinking about a lot.
Any thoughts, Bob?
Well, as far as, like, being able to see the room that you're in, we did kind of experiment with that a little bit at the last Boston VR Dev meetup.
That's right.
At Wayfair. So what Mike did was he scanned the room with a Matterport scanner, and then they scanned some furniture that Wayfair sells furniture in there. So they're 3D scanning all the furniture in their catalog that they sell online. And so they brought in one of the couches that was actually in the room, and then we moved the couch to the position it to where it was in the virtual world with the Rift, so you could, like, pick up the Rift and look down at the couch and put the Rift back, or not the Rift, the Vive back on, and then there's a couch, so you're sitting on a couch that was like the same couch. It was pretty wild.
So you mapped it like 1-to-1 or whatever?
Yeah, it was mapped 1-to-1.
So I don't know if it's going to work, but Gunter, I just Skyped you a link to a video of what Bob's describing. I took a video.
Yeah, let me see if I can get it up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's going to actually come up on the screen. It's from Google Photos, but it was super cool.
It was because like I was while I was sitting on the couch with the Vive on, my wife called. So I was on the phone with her in like looking down at the couch and not seeing my real legs. It's pretty surreal.
I guess that was the weirdest thing about that is that like I feel like I can see the whole room, but I am totally invisible in the room, like because the room was mapped well and the couch was mapped well. It was like a very, very profound sense of presence. Oh, here we go. Looks like the video might actually work. I think what we're talking about.
Is it a video or just a photo?
Yeah, there's the couch.
Should be a video there.
If it doesn't autoplay, it won't work. We don't have the ability to click play.
Okay. Well,
I
okay.
can't scroll down the website either, so we're kind of limited.
Got it. Okay. Well, yeah. What's going on here is, it's too bad this isn't like a little further down because that whole room is 3D scanned and the couch is 3D scanned. So she's looking down that couch and she's seeing like exactly that couch and exactly that room, and then we jammed a Vive controller into the pillows of the couch. And,
I see it sticking up.
Yeah. So like when you move the couch in real life,
I might have
in VR with it, and it's like perfectly lined up, and you can sit on it, and it's very weird.
Oh, I get it, because, yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Pretty cool.
Explain this again. I was trying to do all that.
So awesome. The couch is the controller.
Oh, I see. Wow.
Oh, it's a little bit.
It's slightly
It's a lot.
He said he put a Vive controller in the couch, and then so when you move it, it tracks it.
So you can if you look at the computer screen, you can see it. You can see it in there.
Steam controller in there, yeah. That's what we want, right? More trackers to track our shit.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm depressed that they didn't announce that today, that there would be just like extra tracking pucks that you can put onto whatever, because you could do more of this kind of stuff, but at the same time I wonder if the pass-through camera just sort of takes care of that in most cases. Like you don't need to track the couch because you can see the couch through the camera through the pass-through feature. So
right.
Yeah.
And it will get better.
It's only if you're making Couch Simulator 6000.
So do we think that the delay in the Vive was for this breakthrough technology? Is it worth it, delaying it till April?
Maybe they were fixing the tracking because they said that they have like new motors in the lighthouses and all that type of stuff. So I say more iterations.
Yeah, I'm still wondering what is this very, very big technological breakthrough that they came out with.
Well, I think it's what we saw. I mean, we're not going to see another dev kit before the release unless something really goes wrong. So,
that's the big thing they announced was the pass-through camera.
Yeah,
the camera and the MR or something correction, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with the camera, I have been going back and forth with someone on Reddit all day about it, and I'm not convinced it's going to be any sort of depth sensing solution, really. I think it may just be a 2D camera, and if you watch the Tom's Hardware video closely, at about 10 minutes and 30 seconds in, he has to double tap the button to enable the pass-through camera while he's in the tracked volume, and everything he was seeing before that time was just because he was approaching the edge of the chaperone boundary, where I think it automatically brings in the imagery. I think it's going to be great user experience-wise, but I'm not going to call it a big technological breakthrough. I mean, even Google Cardboard, you can do a pass-through camera. Zeiss VR1, Gear VR, and even I would go so far as to say, even if it was a true 3D depth sensor, that's already been done with the Sulon Cortex and with the HoloLens. So I wouldn't call it a big breakthrough by any means.
I think it just got labeled a term breakthrough. I think it was really just a
marketing thing.
An additional. It is an additional feature, but yeah, it's not a breakthrough.
The breakthrough.
Well, yeah,
Why
I think
not?
it is a marketing thing. Like they've been talking about this the whole time. They've been kind of since before the Vive shipped. They were like, all right, we want to have a system in there where you can see your cat if your cat comes in the room. And on the DK1, they have these 2 slots for cameras on it, and they're just kind of blocked out, but like they're clearly there for stereo cameras. But Jeff, to what you're saying, I think kind of like I was saying to Pizzy earlier, like you do know the position of the camera, so even though it's not a depth sensing camera, you do still have a 3D frame of reference for it, so it's not strictly a 2D camera.
It turns the 2D camera into a depth sensing, right?
Right. So like you're still going to get a mono view, but you know where that mono view is in 3D, so you can do some kind of reconstruction based on that information.
I'm not saying it's not going to be helpful, but if you look at the guy trying to get in the chair in the Tom's Hardware video, he was clearly struggling in just the way you would if you didn't have any depth perception. You know, he had to like kind of swing his arm around and reach out for it and feel it before he could actually, you know, get in it and sit down. I don't want to be too much of a downer about it. I think it's a great feature. I just think that the CEO just kind of had a big mouth calling it a big, big breakthrough. When, you know, if that was something coming out of the mouth of the marketing person, yeah, you expect that. You know, or if it was like a Microsoft HoloLens video where they're making it look, you know, incredibly awesome and you know it's not going to be that great, you kind of set your expectations. But for the CEO to say something like that, I mean, if that was Brendan from Oculus saying that, I would expect a real breakthrough, and I don't think that's what we got today.
Well, there was a couple of other like small changes. The screen is supposed to be brighter, is what the guy said, and then the optics, to me, the optics looked bigger to me. Yeah, again, no real breakthrough, just a change.
You know, thinking about HTC, right? Like, they're not doing so well as a company, and so I find it a little worrisome, right? If you're gonna put all your cards, say, into the Vive, it's not just Valve here, right? So, like, I love Valve, but it's also HTC, which now we're having delays and they have money problems. I don't know all the details and whatnot, but they have some problems there. Whereas, you know, Oculus working with Facebook is turning out to be pretty cool. You know, they got the cash, which, you know, is really important. So it's something that's in my mind.
Well, I wonder how the patents really go. Like, who has what? Does Valve have like 80% of the patents for the Vive anyway, or whatever? You know.
Yeah, that's a
right,
good
John.
question.
Well, no, I hope that Valve has all the patents. I mean, I'm really hoping that Valve has talked about the Vive the whole time as kind of the Android of VR, of like, it's not like just HTC is going to make Vives, or rather like Steam VR. Like HTC's is called the Vive, but there'll be other Steam VR systems, hopefully, from other companies. So I hope that even if HTC does go under this year, that there will be other hardware makers who can also make Steam VR compatible headsets that use lighthouse tracking, that have hands built in. You know, all the things that we associate with the Vive coming from a whole family of hardware like Android, as opposed to just it being like a singular, you know, iPhone Oculus side production.
Be quite a backstep, I feel. You know, like Oculus is going to continue to power forward, so if they had to go through that, that would be a bummer, I think. It would take time to deal with that. Any last thoughts on HTC Vive? I'm sure there's plenty of other news, but that's what I have on my list.
Oh, I'll tell you, I did email Chet again, so if he could send me one to the virtual meetup group, that'd be great.
Yeah, he watches this every time. He's actually watching the stream right now, so you're good to go. Now, Chet's the guy that you want to get in contact to get a Vive if you're a developer, or meetup groups are getting them. I'm totally going to reach out and say, hey, Gunters Universe could use one or two, why not? So we're creating content and doing something unique, and boy, do I need my hands in here. We'll see. Okay. So that's that. Let's talk about SMI. Do you think we'll see eye tracking and foveated rendering in Generation 2 consumer devices? And if you don't, Bob, why don't you go over what SMI is, in case, because I don't really have that down. Teach me.
So SMI, they do eye tracking, and so they have an add-on kit. They've been doing eye tracking like forever, like old school VR. So they've been around forever, and they have a kit that you can put on the DK2. It's like $15,000-$20,000 kit, and it adds eye tracking. And I tried it. It works. The demos that they were showing were really good, but the eye tracking, it was working for me. I mean, I have astigmatism in my eyes, so my eyes move back and forth really fast, and it was tracking my eyes going back and forth really fast because the cursor on the screen I could see moving back and forth really fast. So there's definitely tracking. So there's latest one that they're going to be showing at CES has eye tracking, but in addition, it also has foveated rendering. So if you move your eye, say, to the left, you'll be seeing it'll be rendering the higher resolution where your pupil is looking at, and on your peripheral vision it'll be rendering less resolution. So per frame, it's not as taxing on your GPU. So overall, you can do higher quality, faster frame rate, or just use lower end hardware. Lower end.
It's a big deal, and I could totally see it in Gen 2, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
Gen 2, and I think there was a video on the Reddit. I haven't watched it yet. Have you guys seen the video yet?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, yeah. I mean, I think that'll be awesome. That should allow hopefully 4K screens, and then we could potentially, just run stuff on the GPUs that we have today.
Right. Interesting.
Well, there's also the phones, the headset that already has the eye tracking built in, and yeah, we got to try that at Boston VR also, and that also, it really does work. So yeah, I mean, I think, eye tracking in V2, and then with eye tracking foveated rendering in V2, I think it seems reasonable. We're talking at least a year away.
So what will be really good about that is, even if the screens get higher resolution, you won't have to upgrade your video card, because it'll save
saying,
2 to 4 times. They said something about 2 to 4 times the horsepower or whatever that you'd need to.
Have you guys seen
frame.
the new instance rendering, where supposedly instead of rendering the scene for both eyes, it renders the scene for both eyes at the same time? And supposedly that's supposed to increase the performance quite a bit also.
Yeah, I think that they'll be doing all sorts of different. We'll be seeing all sorts of different optimizations come out in the next year or so. That'll help.
Yeah, like John Carmack was saying at I think Oculus, the last Oculus Connect, he was saying that we really need to start basically just taking an advantage of how humans perceive, how our eyes work, and foveated rendering is a perfect example. How we're matching the technology up to how our eyes really work. We don't need a huge screen.
I think I got a quick video. Let me see if I can get that up.
Well, it does. It seems like foveated rendering might be kind of one of the key technologies in making VR more consumer price friendly, right? We're talking about this. Yeah, we're talking about this making it 2 to 4 times less taxing on your GPU. That makes a huge difference to people who don't have gaming PCs. So that's big.
Right, and just think about the mobile part of that too, like the Gear VR or whatever.
Yep.
One of these days when I'm typing this crap in, I'm going to accidentally type red tube or something stupid.
Meeting the challenge of delivering sharper images at far higher speeds, German eye-tracking leader Sensomotoric Instruments has pioneered foveated rendering for virtual reality. The process of rendering to full resolution only that part of an image the user is looking at. It's now working on SMI's consumer-ready eye-tracking platform at an industry-best frame rate of 250 Hz. And it's set to power the next generation of virtual reality headsets, with higher screen resolutions and much better graphics.
Hard to tell in here.
What you're seeing is actual foveated rendering, captured for this first look video.
Can you guys tell in here?
The periphery outside the blue circle
No,
is low resolution. Between the
That makes
circles,
it a little more clear,
60%
right?
resolution. The
I
inner
can kinda see
circle
it now
is
they
full
stop.
resolution. Only this needs to be fully rendered.
There's also a lot more aberration in the
That's because the
outside,
user's vision
out of the
only
blue
ever
circle.
focuses on this moving HD zone. which keeps up with the very fastest movements of the human eye. You can see the superb quality of the rendering in the leaves of this tree. Higher resolution virtual reality that uses much less processing power.
Tuscany.
All thanks to foveated rendering at 250 Hz. Available now from SNR.
Maybe that would make our Tuscany level lag less.
I guess I am looking forward to like a new version of a Tuscany-like experience. It's like not a full game, just here's a sweet environment to hang out in.
Sure.
With the CV1.
Make it social. Why not?
Yeah, exactly.
Or just have Tuscany, but just new higher resolution textures.
So they probably already have the CV2 like panels already spec'd.
All right. Next up, Samsung Ring. Then we're going to talk about Infinitec and then CES, and then we're done. So Samsung Ring. Are you guys excited about this? And so Samsung Ring is the basically motion controls for the Gear VR. I'm going to look for a video after I kick this off. So yeah, you're excited. And what do you think the box on top of the Gear is for? Jonah?
I'm super excited for it. I'm really shocked that it's coming so early. You know, I expected this would have been like a Gen 2, if not Gen 3 kind of feature. So I'm really, really happy to see it coming online now, or at least like being shown to consumers at this point. You know, as for the box on top, I guess obviously it's got to be part of the tracking solution. It must use some amount of optical tracking. You know, it's got to be some kind of combination of IMUs in the hardware combined with optical tracking from the headset, just to refine the position.
What about you, Bob?
Yeah, it took me totally by surprise. I wasn't expecting to see something like this from them this soon. I mean, it is still a prototype, but you know, we could probably see it this year for sale. Yeah, I think the box has all the tracking brains in it. And I'm pretty stoked because my Gear VR is going to be showing up in like 12 hours.
Right when the pre-order starts. Wow.
Yeah.
You better hope they don't like come to your door and ring it right as you're like F5ing the shit out of your keyboard. You'd be like, I can't.
I know.
You'll just go pick it up later.
Like I have to like go into the door and at the same time.
Just leave it unlocked and then say, "Come in."
Is this all by Samsung, the Ring, or did Oculus help at all on this? Or?
I don't think so. Oh, okay. Let me show the video.
Yeah, it seems like it's from like a wearable kind of division or whatever.
I think it's all Samsung.
Yep.
But nobody knows really. I guess.
First, grab your hands for finding your hands by the first icon turns on.
That sounds like the same voice from Welcome to Oculus.
Hi. Interesting.
It's interesting that they do show like finger control. It's not just your hand position, it's also finger position. So there must be some extra kind of like either Mayo style or Oculus Touch style kind of input on that.
Begin the battle.
Yeah, I mean, it does go around like the palm of your hand, so it can probably sense like which bones are moving when you're moving your fingers.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same thing. Like, you know, like the Mayo band, like it can sense from the pressure around the band that like, you know, this muscle is flexing, so you must be flexing this. Like, I'm guessing it's that kind of thing. But yeah, super fun for it. I think it's very cool and very
on it?
No, it's a prototype that they're showing at CES. there's hardly any information out there on it at all, but I'm sure we'll be learning a lot more in the next couple days.
Cool.
Once people get to try it.
Very cool. Who here knows about Infinidet? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to try it, Bob? You were there.
I didn't try it, but I was the person behind the camera filming Reverend Kyle on it.
I should find that video. Well, talk about it.
So the original one was very big and very loud. It was shown at the 2014 SVVR Expo, and they have miniaturized it, basically cut the size of it in half, and have brought it to CES.
It does look a lot more natural than something like the Omni with the curved dish. Like the fact that you're walking up flat ground, I think is a big kind of step up for it.
So one of the things that I was kind of like scratching my head about is that they're bringing this to CES, but I don't see it as like something that would be in home, because right now it's 9 feet tall, and I don't really know too many people who have ceilings that are 9 feet tall in their houses.
I could see it in like someone who has the money could definitely buy one if they wanted to.
Yeah, I guess very, very niche for... I see it more for like, military would probably be interested in it, or like out-of-home entertainment, that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
like
a VR arcade seems like a place
Busters
for it.
or something.
Yeah, I definitely think it's like a step up from...
Yeah, you could have like a squad of 6 of them set up, they could all be like the FPS shooters.
Hey, look! There's K-Dog.
In the flesh.
Hey.
I always thought that would be like a fun way to do it, but
This is SVVR 2014. I missed it. I'm jealous.
So this one was, if you look, you can see he's the guy behind the. I think his name's George. He's the inventor, and for this one, he's actually controlling the direction of the treadmill when it's. So he's basically like a joystick in his hand or whatever it is. Based on what direction the person's walking in, he'll change the direction of the treadmill. The one that's at CES this year is automatic. It's controlled by the user.
Curious about the diagonal force.
So each one of those bands is like another mini kind of treadmill.
Mm-hmm.
no, you're good. You're good. Just walking along, going nowhere.
I'm kind of kicking myself. I probably should have, when he was done, just jumped up on there with a camera in my hand. So.
Too bad he didn't fall, because that'd be great fodder for like America's funniest home video.
Oh jeez.
Not hurt himself, just a funny fall. Or anybody fall on that thing and have video of it would be bad for them, but funny for us.
Well,
so yeah, it was always weird that it's controlled by somebody.
Yeah, for sure. Did he say, Bob, like, does it feel like it controls your inertia very well? Like, I remember trying some of this kind of motion platform, and it feels like it's like going to take my feet out from under me. Do you know if that feels that way with this one?
Well, with the new one or the old one? Well, I mean, the old one, like, no one was wearing a headset or anything, so I think it was just
here.
felt like walking
First
on a regular
omnidirectional treadmill that makes moving in virtual reality a walk in the park. Introducing
Nobody's
Infinidet,
controlling this one.
the platform that lets you move in any speed, in any direction,
Is there any, like,
just like in your own
inertia
backyard.
that it has to,
Or with the VR headset, just like anywhere. Infinidet, reality just got bigger.
Yeah, it's even
And
like when he
a
was
little
sidestepping a little bit, like his right foot would still go out sideways a little bit.
I'd be a little worried about jitter, kind of like how the HMD jitters. Would that jitter the same way?
I think this is the old one.
Yeah, it's not the latest I've seen.
There's another video that Matt Carroll has posted. If you go on like Matt Carroll's YouTube,
Like on yeah.
on Matt Carroll's YouTube.
It's what's on their website, their homepage. So I mean.
Yeah, their webpage doesn't have the latest video. It's on the latest videos on Matt Carroll's YouTube.
Well, I don't want to spend a lot of time trying to find that one, so it's okay. Oh, Matt Carroll's YouTube, that'd be easier.
Yeah,
I don't know, do you have anything else you can say about this?
Yeah, Bob, I agree that seems like more of a solution for a VR arcade than something you'd actually own. You know, maybe 100 people own this thing, but I think much more you'll see this kind of like at a mall in a real VR installation.
Because it'd be like 10 G's or something.
Well, yeah.
I think maybe in like 5 years or something, we might see one that would be, able to put in the home.
Right. Yeah.
Once the costs come down and stuff. I mean, but if you look at regular treadmills, they ain't cheap. You look at a good treadmill, you're still talking, $800, even higher than that.
Right.
I feel like this kind of thing, it just makes me more excited for VR arcades. Of like, what kind of crazy shit can you do when you're not limited by what is consumer friendly, what is price friendly, what is like reasonable to own in your house.
Yeah.
This kind of custom installation stuff too. Cool.
And this one comes with more intense music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they said this one isn't really running yet. The max they can do is like I think 6 miles an hour, and they're working on it. Probably eventually.
I'd be more worried about getting out of balance and breaking that thing.
I'm worried about breaking myself.
Yeah, I'd be worried about flying off of it, but I guess you're held up there.
Yeah, you're on a harness.
Well, so the last
Yeah.
one didn't have a harness, right?
Yeah, the original one there was no harness.
But if you're fat like me, who knows if they'll break or not.
I couldn't imagine once you get used to it, you just take that harness off.
Well, George is like the creator. He's not a small guy, so I mean he's.
This is cool here. This is apparently this is a person trying this for the first time, and they didn't expect any sort of strafing.
You don't strafe in real life. Well, I guess you do.
There's a little delay there, but no, you don't strafe like that in real life. But I thought it was kind of cool. In a shooter, it might come in handy.
Well, I guess like going around the corner or something. Right? Yeah, I wanted to see his screen more, like what was going on the screen.
Well, yeah, we'll probably see a lot more of that CES because they're there. And maybe we can bring Matt on to talk about it.
For sure. Just whenever he's ready. That's gonna be a great show.
So are they releasing any price information for that thing?
I didn't see anything.
Yeah,
Nothing in
I
the
think
Reddit
it's
thread.
like $5,000 kind of range.
Yeah, that's huge and a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. Arcades sounds good to me.
Yeah,
it's gonna be loud too, so that is not
Yeah,
gonna work for the home.
it's definitely loud.
Cool. So speaking of CES and the Infinitec being there, well, that's our last topic. CES. Is there anything at CES that you're interested in? Anything that we haven't covered beyond Oculus and Vive? Are any of you going to be there? I guess start with anybody going to be there? Anybody in the audience going to be at CES? I doubt any of us, but maybe.
Dave Styles, maybe?
Yeah, probably. He'll get his $5 ticket on eBay or Craigslist. Inside stuff. Another user here that's not here right now. But yeah, is there anything? I mean, I don't even guess I really know what's going on at CES. I'll start tuning in tomorrow. I don't even know if there's live streams. I assume I'll be hunting those down tomorrow. If anybody has any knowledge on that,
I got a ticket for a live stream supposedly, but I don't know how legit it is. But,
ticket?
Yeah, it was on the Oculus subreddit. I clicked the link and I reserved my free ticket for a couple of streams. Stream starts tomorrow. Then there's also a stream on Saturday or Friday. I can't remember.
There'll be I think like enough news articles out there with videos from all the different tech websites. So I'm not really.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be some free stream links that show up on Reddit throughout the day.
We'll find out tomorrow. Yeah, I didn't really catch up on any CES stuff, but it's definitely something big going on. A lot of big stuff this week. It's pretty cool.
I'm just looking at like random CES news here and reading about a robotic butler. So that's happening.
We've been waiting for that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
You don't have to worry about the beer cup holder. Your robot is your beer cup holder. We'll bring
Robot,
you things
bring me
to
beer.
you in VR. Like, you don't have to go find them.
Yeah, just put that tech in a real doll, and we'll be all set.
Oh, jeez.
Can I pre-order that now?
Yeah.
We have a 98-inch 8K display from LG.
Oh, yeah, what's a real doll?
Are there any other HMDs out being shown or anything like that? I haven't really had a chance to look at much.
Well, we're not
like,
really the people to report on CES.
Well, I know that like Vive is going to be at like a whole bunch of different other companies like Alienware and VR Zoom and Virtuix. So then like I think Intel, tons and tons of. There was a whole list on one of the HTC like blogs or whatever of all the companies that are going to be having Vives at their booth. So there's going to be a whole lot of VR there.
Speaking of Virtuix, yeah, they're going to be there, and they are still on track to ship out their second batch of Omnis. First batch went out, so it's happening. It's a thing. And what was interesting, this email that I got from them was the esports thing they're hosting at CES. So they have a 4-player, I guess, deathmatch sort of, some sort of shooter. So everybody will be in an Omni, and there's co-op as well, where you capture a point, something like that. I got a picture here. Let me throw that up.
I'm a backer, so I'm definitely looking forward to getting one.
Are you getting one?
Yep.
Yep, I'm there too. Super excited.
Yeah, I spent all my VR money at that point.
I was gonna get one, but then I moved into an RV. Well, I already got it, and then I emailed them saying, "Hey, I'm not gonna be able to fit it anymore. Do you want to give me a refund? That'd be sweet." And they did.
Oh, that's cool though.
Yeah, very cool. Change that screen back to that and show another picture.
So what I'm hoping they do is like go to meetups to do deliveries as an option, and that would be cool because maybe do it like on I don't know a Saturday or something, and just set up a whole bunch of Omnis and people can bring their rigs and kind of like do esports at each meetup. They could probably sell like a whole lot more of them too, because have people from the public come try them, and then, hey, you want to buy one right now? We got some on the truck.
I like that idea.
I know we got a few of them coming to Boston, so I'm hoping that they'll come do like a launch party down here.
Yeah, I've asked multiple times, haven't heard anything.
After this, we're gonna open things up to the audience. So, audience, get some questions, get some thoughts on what's going on. You got to be feeling something through all this great news that's been happening, or questions for the guest, or anything. But this last picture up here is like the arena that people are going to be using their Omnis to run around and shoot each other. So that's cool. Hope we get some neat video to watch later this week of that. We've seen in the past with the Omnis just one person running around, shooting stuff normally. And it'll be great to actually see people competitively playing something in VR. It's cool.
What I can't wait for is gun controllers that are tracked separately from, so
yeah, totally.
You don't have to aim with your face like you do now.
Oh,
that part sucks balls. Not that I know of. They don't have the guns for that. There was like a Delta Force gun that was supposed to be this way a long time ago. I don't think that's...
Well,
I have the Delta 6, and it doesn't work like that.
Yeah,
sorry, dude.
All they have to do is use a Vive, right?
Yeah, get some Vive tracking pucks on it.
That's what we need. Come on.
Yeah, the esports on that's going to be awesome. I never really thought about it, but yeah, it's going to be sweet.
Right, like esports in the Vive. I don't know. Even in the Rift, I mean, it's not. I mean, you're not gonna run around and I don't know.
Well,
like teleporting sports,
with the Omni Virtuix, like yeah,
because you can just keep running. It's freaking awesome. I like the idea with hover junkers though, that you're on this junk ship flying around, and then you've got your space for your room scale, so you can walk on your ship, basically pirating, pillaging other ships, I suppose. It feels that way, and shooting them, but with complete accuracy, one-to-one with your hands. You have to basically reload the guns and shoot them accurately, and you probably don't want to just shoot like you would normally and blast all your bullets out there. You need to take some time, aim.
Yeah, that game and then Arizona Sunshine, they look awesome.
Is that a horror game?
Yeah, Arizona Sunshine, it's a Vive. I think it's for Oculus Touch too, but you use guns and you shoot zombies and you're in like an Arizona sun desert type. It sounds awesome, everything I've read.
Yeah, it does. I don't know who it was I was talking to, but they've tried that, and it's cool because you always look behind you, see where the zombies are coming from. It gets intense. There's a lot of different terrain. Cool. Audience, talk to us. Don't be shy. I know what you mean. Well, he got his what was it? Real doll. Madman, what do you think? He's away on the computer doing typing stuff. Would you agree, Madman?
I agree. Whatever.
That Cuff is using his real doll. I think it's true.
Probably.
And,
unfortunately.
So what are you guys expecting the price to be?
Yeah, we talked about that in the beginning. I said 400 to 500. I think the most of us are thinking basically 500, maybe 550. So, can you afford that? Sorry, it seems like I'm calling him out, but me and Demuncha have a relationship that, I could be like. Anyways, are you been saving your pennies?
Sorry?
Sorry. Please tell me what you're saying. I'm being retarded right now.
That's right. I think 500 is asking a lot, even for the first version. I know they've cut it down in price. You know, they say they're selling it at cost price, but I don't exactly want to pay $500 American for the version 1, which I've got the Gear VR, and I know the Gear VR is. I've heard the Gear VR is better quality than the Oculus Rift, and I'm not happy with the Gear VR either.
Too much started cardboard. Now he's got a gear recently. He's pretty much not doing anything with it, not happy with the screen, I guess, door effect, FOV maybe as well.
Yeah, both.
Yeah. So, and you have the rig to run CV1 because you do a lot of gaming and streaming. Do you guys think that if he's not happy with the gear in terms of optics quality, I don't know if it's the games that you're bothered by either, but you think that CV1's gonna push that over for him? You think he's gonna enjoy that, or you think he might not be so happy after paying $500?
Well, CV1 definitely does have better lenses. I mean, there's also the factor of like positional tracking makes a big difference. You know, I think even with the resolution being good not great, I think positional tracking makes just a huge amount of difference. So that alone might be worth it, even if it is kind of similar resolution-wise to the Gear.
Well, the Gear VR works really well. The tracking is excellent. I do not get sick at all at it, and anyone that except for my stepmother, everybody else that I've showed it to, they don't get sick either. They're only for like half an hour, and they think it's great. But the tracking itself is excellent. It doesn't need positional tracking, I don't think.
It does. You don't understand that yet.
Well,
have you tried positional tracking on yet?
No. He hasn't tried a Rift, I believe.
Yeah, if you have going from no positional tracking to positional tracking, it's tough to go back. So like when I put on a Gear VR, I want to like lean in and look at stuff, and I can't.
Yeah, I have a hard time using Gear these days after using positional track systems. Like it's really something that once you're used to it, it's really hard to lose.
Yeah, definitely.
So you're not pre-ordering tomorrow then?
Me? No.
Correct.
I'm gonna wait until both products come out, and then people put out reviews of both products, and then I'll think about which one I should buy first.
Sounds pretty smart. If you're not super duper fanboy, can't be without the best VR in your hands at any moment of time, then that makes more sense.
Both really good VR, but both work differently. Like
Sure.
The Vive has its own hand controllers, and the Oculus VR has its hand controllers coming out later. So they track differently. The Vive tracks from the head, and the Oculus Rift tracks from the cameras that are looking at your head.
No, the Vive tracks with two basically laser emitting boxes that go on either opposite corners of the room.
No, but they aren't doing the tracking. The sensors on the head display do the tracking.
No, there's sensors on the headset, but they get hit by the lasers that are in each corner of the room.
Yeah.
Well, it's true though that each device does its own tracking. Like I understand that the hand controllers, each of them have a chip in them that's dealing with the sensor data and doing the tracking for the device. Like the Lighthouse doesn't do any tracking on its own.
Yeah, the lighthouses are basically just dumb boxes that shoot out lasers.
Right.
So they both work opposite to each other, because Oculus has its camera that looks at your face and tracks that way. So.
Yep.
But both have great tracking, right? They both have the seamless tracking. I don't think you'd really be able to tell the difference. It's just the room scale difference, the occlusion that you might get with the Rift if you're using touch.
Well, I think that my hang-ups are great. The Vive has a potential huge tracking difference when you get into. Sorry, it's really confusing. When you get having more than 2 lighthouses, because they've talked all along about like, oh yeah, you can just have as many lighthouses as you want and track a kind of indefinitely large space. So like you could really track your entire house and walk around if you weren't tethered to a computer, which some headsets like the Game Face headset that is a mobile HMD with lighthouse tracking. If you were able to have just like a network of lighthouse emitters, then you could walk around just freely, basically, walk around in a big space. And I feel like maybe that's play here.
Damn, what are we gonna be doing with this shit in 10 years? I have no idea.
Playing SAO in real life.
But I was just thinking, map out your house, walk around it, just make it look a lot cooler than it normally is. Don't need posters. Just don't need cool-looking tchotchkes. Just put on everybody that comes in your house. Here's a headset. You can't be in here with that one.
Yeah, the virtual economy will overtake the real economy.
All right, exactly.
Yeah, if you're talking about the 10-year timeline, I think we'll have much more kind of AR-oriented devices that can also do VR, maybe. But if you're talking about kind of large-scale tracking with sort of whatever visually you're looking for in whatever space you're in, it seems like something like a HoloLens style device is kind of more with what we're looking at on that sort of horizon.
Yeah, I mean, Magic League
something
potentially
form
can do
factor
VR too.
Right.
You'll still leading up into the 10 years, you'll still have these people that like have been building this crazy shit over the last 10 years. It's not just going to go away, or discoveries they make could be cool for, wouldn't be necessarily adopted by a majority, but it's going to be crazy to see how people put this tech with other tech in their homes or wherever, and just, it's going to be really cool to see, like drones, what people have done with drones, but what are people going to do with VR? It's going to be...
Yeah, drones with lighthouse, that sounds crazy.
Yeah.
All right, anything else from anybody before we wrap it up?
I'm just wondering, I know like when we come on here, everybody seems really friendly to each other, which is kind of contrary to what real life is, where everybody kind of keeps to themselves. I'm wondering, in the future when everything like this becomes more widely accepted, are people in reality going to get more friendly, or are people in virtual reality going to get more secluded, if that makes any sense? Reclusive.
I think we're going to learn a lot about ourselves with VR. I think it really... we talk about like the empathy thing, but I also think like I'm going to learn more about my own creativity, explore like things I dream about, like I can make that easily, cheap in VR, and so I can explore more about myself, or with other people. So like a feedback, or I think we might realize things about our normal day-to-day, like they don't need to be quite like that. We see how it is in VR and how we interact there. It's, learn from that, and hopefully make some great lessons, or learn that I don't need to be so consumer. I can spend a lot of time in VR and don't need all those things anymore. I feel like I'm satisfied with these things that I have there, or that I like creating it more.
Yeah, definitely.
When I kind of think about like people finding their people and finding their place in VR more easily than in the real world, like, I think about kind of the vision of school that we see in Ready Player One, for example, where like you have people all over the world coming into a virtual space together to learn together or hang out or whatever, do whatever together. And I think that, if you think of kind of the stereotypical like nerd kid in a school, it's like, all right, that kid probably had watched other people who could talk to at that school. But then if you think about like in a VR space, there could be a whole town full of those people. I think that a lot of people are going to be able to find their communities and find their people hopefully more easily in VR using kind of social VR technology than in real life.
We've been doing it with the internet. Like, if you have a kink or a thing that you're into and can't find anybody that's into it, like, you can find them on the internet, and then you can have your little group. But VR takes it to the, well, now we can feel like we're in our real lives now, or our real selves, or close enough interactions. We, what we know about all this, and have that niche group, and then you can, from there, you could decide to use the internet to continue as a tool. But I think as a base of collecting people together that are like-minded, it'll work well. And ultimately, when you get all crazy in what VR can do, I feel like it's a salvation in like 100 years from now or something. Like, it can really impact big time. I mean, the internet is like a salvation in many ways. So much good has come of it. Maybe a bunch of bad's come of it too, but really, a connected world, it's very, very positive having the internet. It's like the most freedom, technology that frees us more than anything. We can inform ourselves. So I think VR is going to be exponential beyond that, and can be, to be religious about it or something crazy. I'm not really religious, but it feels like it can help really save the world from, course correct the world maybe some, or I don't know, something like that.
Yeah, I think along those lines, like, it definitely like removes the physical barrier. Like, example, I don't have to go somewhere to hang out, example, with you guys, to socialize and interact with other people that like the same things that I do. We're doing it now because we're early adopters, but everyone else is going to be doing what we're doing right now on a grander scale. And everything is just more instant. It makes the world even smaller. The internet made the world smaller. This just makes the world smaller, and it gives us more communication, and it takes away the physical barriers, not just having to get in a car and do stuff in the real world, but it also removes any physical barriers because we're in a virtual environment, and we can like have no gravity, scale anything, do anything. It's pretty awesome. So yeah.
I love VR. Okay, so that's it. Let's do plugs. Jono, plug something.
Something of my own or something else?
Both.
Both, all the way. Yeah, I mean, of my own, I mean, I'm working on Archean, formerly VRMT, world building software for creating environments. You should go check it out, and hope that do Kickstarter pretty soon. Something else? I don't know. I'm going to keep plugging the Vive and the new stuff the Vive's coming out with, because I think it's going to kind of open up a lot of opportunities in terms of doing mixed reality stuff, and that's going to be kind of the path towards AR, which is super cool. So there you go, plugs.
Awesome. And you, Pizzy?
If you're in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, you can sign up for our virtual reality meetup. But other than that, I'm just staying on the edge. Yeah, I love the Vive too. I can't wait to get one of those also. So yeah.
Right on. And Bob, aka Coznefx.
So, Left Handed VR Podcast. We're LHVR Podcast on Twitter and Facebook. We're on all the major podcasting platforms. We've got a new episode coming out hopefully tomorrow. We recorded on Sunday before all the crazy stuff happened, so I'm going to try and get that edited and posted tomorrow, because I know there's a whole lot of eyeballs on the Oculus subreddit right now. If you want to follow me personally, at Coznefx. And that's it.
Right. Cool. I guess I should also mention Boston VR. Speaking of meetups, Boston VR is a thing. If you're in the East Coast, Boston area, New England area, on the 27th, we're having Wayfarer and Google. They're showing Project Tango stuff, and Wayfarer is showing a mixed reality VR, AR stuff for the home. So that should be super sweet.
Awesome. So a couple announcements from me. Of course, we always have our Sunday meetup here in VR chat. I don't know, 20, 30 people show up. We spend hours together. We run around to user-generated content, and what I mean by that is going to various rooms. This room here is my room. It's called Gunters Universe, and it's made by me and my friends, but there are hundreds of other rooms made by various other people learning to dev. They're already developers, or they're just completely noobs and they like hanging out, or just being a part of this cool community. All this is really interesting to explore. We're super nice. Come on out. There's a post about it every Sunday, so if you want all the details, a countdown timer, how to attend, all that good stuff, look for that. And there's this cool new show called Real Virtual Show, and you go to realvirtualshow.com, and it's a show hosted by Malia Probst. She's really cool, and she's using this software, this service, whatever. It's sort of like a mix between Google Hangouts and a Periscope. So it's just an easy way to do a talk show. Like, the format is add some people webcams. You even have like a spot where somebody in your audience wants to call in. You can add them easily. There's a cool chat going on. You can at people there so everybody can kind of tell who's talking to who. You know, there's a question section, so anytime you ask questions, it goes there, and it's in a queue. So I was on that a couple weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun. So you get to see my beautiful face, which is always my favorite thing to do and show people. And got a little nerdy and put the Rift on and went to virtual desktop, and so I could be doing the show with the Rift on. And then Holotape, Matt, and Rubik was watching, and they got to call in, and so all three of us were nerds. And we actually took over the show for about an hour afterwards because she just left it running, and she was cool with it, and so it was fun to talk to that audience and be goofballs. So she's really cool, and she has a lot of cool, interesting guests on. realvirtualshow.com. Check it out. I was actually on there earlier tonight as just a call-in guide. They had the is it Otherworld? They do Nimbus Nights. It was Robin, I think, from there. She was on. Anyways, that's super cool stuff. And if you don't mind, if you like the show and you want to support, one of the easiest ways is to just retweet stuff, tweet at me things, go to the Reddit post. If you see those, just make a comment like, I like this, or I don't like this. Anything you want. Super easy. Please do that. Also, go to guntersuniverse.com. There's not a lot there, just the things you need, like a link to where the recordings are, a link to my Skype if you want to Skype it up, or a link to my Steam if you want to play some games with me, or a billion other things on there to contact, because that's what we have in the future. And if you really like everything that's going on here and really want to help, you could donate to my Patreon. Patreon's basically a way to collect donations, but it's done by content creators, put out content, and the donation goes to that. It's a cool site. You got to kind of check it out on your own. Maybe it'll spark something in yourself to want to create your own Patreon to help fund your creativity. And I got to thank all the Patreon members that are supporting me now. I'm just over the moon with the support. So thank you to them. Thank you to the Gunters Universe team. Thanks you to all my guests tonight. This has been fantastic. And thanks for everybody in the audience and everyone watching on the Hitbox and on YouTube later. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next Tuesday back here in Gunters Universe. Wait for it.
You need a theme song.
There, I have it. That thing. I could probably use a more customized for the show song, but I found this royalty-free song and used it. Rock on! Mr. Q, what's up, my friend? You're looking nice and glowy today.
Yes, I'm okay.
I'm okay. There, that's my dancing avatar. Took me a while.
Oh, Jesus, I'm tiny!
Yeah, you are.